Tonight, the president predicting a painful 2 weeks ahead for America, saying as many as 240,000 people could die from COVID-19, even if social distancing rules are followed. Now, the millions of Americans enduring financial fallout from the crisis.
Even before this pandemic started, life for Amber Robertson was already precarious.
We get food stamps and everything, so, I mean, now with me looking for work, it's getting at least 10 times harder.
This single mom from Orlando, fearing any small thing could put her over the edge.
Keeping my AC on won't go past 79 overnight. That takes my bill down to under 200.
She, like so many Americans, now finds herself on the brink, a thin line between making ends meet and financial ruin. With President Trump now extending federal social distancing guidelines until April 30th, the financial hardships will be compounded. An ABC News Washington Post poll showed half of Americans have experienced a cut in pay or work hours as a result of the pandemic. Tomorrow begins a new month in a new reality. The anxiety and fear over how to meet financial obligations, palpable.
How am I going to make rent? How bills, student loans. I have other medical bills that I'm still trying to pay off.
It's completely unsettling. You start to ask yourselves, are we going to be able to afford to buy food? And all that we can really do at this point is hope and pray that financially we will be able to stay afloat.
The question for so many, how long can they hold on? Zaid Consuegra Souza always had big dreams, but as an immigrant, restaurant work was often the only job he could get. After years of toiling, his dreams came true 6 months ago when he opened Pirate's Bone Burgers, a plant-based diner in Kansas City, Missouri.
I put everything that I had into it. We were selling almost 100,000 within the first 3 months. I was very happy.
So you had finally turned a corner and were looking at profits.
Yeah.
Or at least the prospect of profits.
The prospect of profits, yeah. In the near future, it seemed like a possibility for sure.
When COVID hit, that exciting prospect wiped off the table.
What went through your mind when it really dawned on you that you'd have to shut your doors?
It was a sad day because it was either we closed down the doors early before everyone told us to close down in order to keep people safe, keep my employees safe, myself safe, and the rest of the small money that we have in the bank account.
Do you think your business will survive?
I hope so. I don't think we have enough in the bank to really hold us over for too long. We were just starting up, so everything went back into it.
As a DACA recipient, he can't file for unemployment.
I was just able to speak to my car loan company, and they told me that my payments were going to be paused, but my interests were not going to be paused. So as great as it is pausing my payments, my interest is going to go through the roof, which it already was. Being undocumented, I had no credit.
I'm sorry if it's too personal a question, but how much money do you have left in the bank?
I have $70 in my bank account, and I grabbed all the tips that I hadn't put in the bank. So I have just a couple $100s that I need to put back in there.
He says the rent on his restaurant is temporarily paused, but he's still facing a pile of other bills.
I have a delinquent bill for water, which they're not going to cut off, and the electric company also said that they weren't going to shut them off. I'd love to pay them, but it would put me in such a tight spot that if I needed to get groceries, I would not be able to.
There are some avenues for help. Some states have banned evictions and foreclosures during the crisis. 5 of the largest mortgage lenders in the country have offered relief or options to borrowers hit hardest by COVID-19. Federal student loan payments can be suspended for 6 months without penalty. And phone and internet companies, including Verizon, Xfinity, and AT&T, offering 60 days of non-termination for those who can't pay their bills.
Chick-fil-A sandwiches going out!
Nonprofits are also filling the gap. Food pantries across the country flooded. At one Pittsburgh food bank, a line of cars stretching down the highway, waiting to get in. Still, the need is overwhelming.
How will I survive? Well, I'm going to tap into my savings because unemployment has been a nightmare thus far.
More than 3 million Americans filed for unemployment during the week ending March 21st. Getting an unemployment check is not always simple or quick, even in the best of times.
I really need the income as soon as possible.
Perla Pimental applied as soon as she lost her job as an event planner.
Filing for unemployment is not a very easy process. It's not very intuitive.
Rini Castillo-Leon and her partner Madeline Wittenberg say they finally got through to New York's system.
We used 2 different computers at once trying to access the website. We spent about 5 days trying
because we were just calling this on repeat and like it would just get disconnected. So we did also the Spanish version, and that's the version that we had the luck with.
Last week, Congress passed a whopping $2 trillion stimulus bill. But in Orlando, Amber Robertson will have to go it alone.
I have negative $135, and I'm not getting a stimulus check, so that's not going to help any.
She's been looking for work for 2 years, so she hasn't been filing taxes. She went to prison when she was 18 for nonviolent crimes, and COVID-19, she suspects, has slashed any employment prospects she had.
I'm a convicted felon. You weren't working already, and then all these people that were aren't anymore, so they are like, oh, well, you lost your job because of COVID-19. Oh, well, yeah, go ahead. You'll get hired before this lady who's been looking for 2 years.
Her daughter, Kaylin, goes to a magnet school for the performing arts.
I've set you up a little space.
For both of them, education represents opportunities Amber didn't have.
Lord knows, I don't want her going through what I'm going through now. Because I know she won't end up going to, jail or anything crazy like I did. She wants to be a star.
So when schools shut their doors and went online, she knew she'd have to find a way to get Wi-Fi, a luxury she couldn't afford. So she and her neighbors banded together, pooling their resources to pay for Wi-Fi so all the kids could learn.
I got the Wi-Fi fixed, so I can... Yeah, you're going to school here.
Knowing she can still make her daughter smile is a small relief.
Not letting them know that we're all freaking out. That's the best thing you can do. Just got to let it roll off your shoulders.
She focuses instead on gratitude. Thankful for the women in her new tribe, like Dorothy Miracle.
We're just sticking together because I don't think without each other we wouldn't get through this at all.
And for things like free lunch.
Thank you guys so much.
And this, a gift from someone she's never met, listed on a giveaway app. For some, an old trampoline, but for her, a godsend.
Thank you to anybody on OfferUp or wherever giving out stuff for free, because people like us, we need it.
And earlier I spoke with personal finance guru and popular radio host Dave Ramsey. Dave, thanks for joining us.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Well, clearly these are unprecedented times and people are facing serious health threats along with economic threats. What do you say to people when they call you and say, Dave, I'm worried?
Well, I think you'd be weird if you weren't a little worried right now, concerned. What we're trying to tell folks, though, is don't go past the worried or concerned over into panic. People don't make good decisions when they're panicked.
So for the millions of people who suddenly find themselves unemployed, rent is coming due tomorrow. Bills need to be paid. People have to make tough choices. How do you prioritize which bills to pay and which to ignore?
If you're in that situation where your income has come to a screeching halt, not where you're worried about it, but where the facts say you did lose your job, then we tell you you've got to prioritize and be very, very careful. You've got to batten up the hatches. You're in the middle of a hurricane. And we say protect the four walls of your house. You buy food, shelter, clothing, transportation, and utilities. And you may not need to buy anything else right now.
And you know, you're famous for telling people that you should have an emergency fund. But when is it time to dip into savings?
What we tell folks to have is the very first steps, get $1,000 as a beginner emergency fund. But a good emergency fund, a proper one, is 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you've got that, that puts you in a much better shape right now. But again, you don't touch that just because you're scared. You touch it because you literally ran out of money because your job is gone.
And what if you're already in debt? If you're going to call your mortgage bank or your credit card bank, how do you ask for debt relief?
Well, I mean, in most cases, they have some kind of a coronavirus program right now. Stuff like credit cards, if it dings your credit up a little bit, you just don't pay them right now if you're out of work and broke. Now, we need to go forward, though, and say there's a whole lot of people that are doing fine. They're just worried. Those people need to keep doing their current financial plan. Don't stop doing it.
What's the most common question you've been getting from all of your legions of listeners out there, Dave?
The most common question I'm getting now is that folks' concern has shifted from the virus to the cure. The cure is now killing folks. Not necessarily literally, but it's destroying their lives and destroying their dreams. And so the sooner that America can get back to work safely, and the sooner we can get past this fear-based management of everything, this panic-based management, that's what folks are yearning for that I'm talking to every day.
Well, you stay safe, and thanks for sharing your wisdom with us today, Dave Ramsey.
Honor to be with you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.